everyone, welcome to the Mandy Effect. Today our guest is Jim. Jim, welcome to the Mandy Effect. Thank you for being here today. I am so excited to be in conversation with you today.
Thank you for having me. It looks like we color coordinated with the Browns today as well. Good, well done.
They photograph well. All right, so let's get right into it. The focus of today's podcast or conversation is not going to be politics. It's not going to be controversies, like I said earlier. We want to get to know the real, the human side of Jim and who you are outside the office. So before we get into the podcast itself, why don't you tell the audience, who is Jim? Who are you? What is it that you want people to know about you?
So I'm an entrepreneur. That's my background. That's my true passion. I've opened and operated many businesses over the years, and I bring my entrepreneurial acumen to the job of being in politics. I never, ever wanted to get into politics. Quite the contrary. I'm not fond of politicians and politics because people don't always do the right things for the right reasons. And I just kind of fell into it by accident. And I've had lots of great challenges throughout my life, but I'm the biggest optimist you're ever going to find, Mandy. I mean, there's no bad. It's just lessons, and there's not mistakes. They're just lessons. And it makes you that much more resilient, makes you that much more prepared. And I tell my kids, I said, don't ever be concerned that I'm going to be upset that you made a mistake. You learned a lesson. Because first thing I ask when something goes wrong, I say, what did you learn? What would you do different? So you learn something. Then it was valuable. If you do it again, you're an idiot. So I try not to make the same mistakes. I try to learn new lessons each time. And I write the book on Screw Up. I add chapters like weekly. And I tell my kids, but for every shot you don't take, you're guaranteed to miss. So every time you zero in on where you want to be and what you want to do. So for me, I've got 3 great kids. They're 24, 22, and 19. They're awesome. And even my ex-wife, we're best friends. We get along great. Actually, we went last night to see Rick Springfield at the old G stage. And it's great. We're buddies, and that's the way it should be.
Yeah.
And we focus on the good all the time. The good. We've got 3 amazing kids, so our relationship resulted in some incredible benefits and outcomes. And I'm big on being well-rounded, physically, mentally, spiritually. Always, you have to be in balance, because even a tire, if it's out of balance, it wobbles, and eventually things fall off. So you need to keep everything together. And I hope to be seen as somebody that was a straight shooter, focused. You knew where he was coming from. He told you what he was going to do before he did it, then he did it. And I'm the kind that doesn't stop till I get it done. And I go, that's my only superpower, Mandy, is I never quit. I said, you got to shoot me, because I don't quit till I get to the goal, like a dog with a bone. And resilience and determination and a never quit attitude.
I love that. And every word you said, it's so powerful, and I resonate with that. I also have a very hustler mindset, right? Coming from immigrant family. But I feel like it takes time, right, to get there. You don't just, you go through hard lessons and hardships in life to get to this point. So I'm sure you've had your share of challenges and ups and downs as well. So how did you get to this mentality? Because it's fantastic.
Well, it was an evolution.
Yeah.
And as a kid, so I'll tell you, I was a very, very average kid. I was, I'll say, unremarkable. There's nothing about me. Nobody said to me as a kid, that kid's going places. They didn't.
Yeah.
I was friends with everybody. I was likable. I was a good kid. Always helped people. Honest, hardworking. But I wasn't great at anything. I mean, I did good in school. I did good in sports. But I wasn't the star.
Yeah.
I got along with, everybody, both sides. I didn't hang out with one group of people, hung around with kind of everybody. Yeah. So, but I was a bit of a late bloomer. So I tell my son, who's also a bit of a late bloomer, I said, it's okay, because we all are on our own trajectory. We all have our own path. Don't compare yourself to anybody, because we're all on completely different paths. Yeah. And as I determined, I liked selling things. But then I realized I like pleasing people. I'll give you an example. So I was a little boy. My mom had beautiful rose bushes. And we grew up average, family. Dad worked. Mom took care of the 4 kids, dog, little house. And I remember I would take my mom's rose bushes and I'd cut the roses and sell them on the street. I was a little kid. But one thing that stood out for me, it wasn't that I wanted to make money. because I remember one lady wanted to buy all of them. I had a handful of them, and maybe they're a penny a rose because I was a little kid. I was little, and I had them in tin foil, and she wanted to buy them all, but I didn't want to sell them all to her. I just wanted her to buy one, and she said, "No, I'm going to pay you for all of them." But I couldn't put into words. I wanted to sell to more people.
Yeah.
I wasn't trying to. She thought I was trying to make money.
Yeah.
And I was trying to sell because I realized I was trying to bring happiness. I didn't realize at the time. So, and then I would go, we had a park behind our house. I'd be a bat boy. I'd pick up garbage. I would score keep to make a few bucks. So when we went away somewhere, I could buy myself something. I didn't like to rely on my parents for money and things. I like to do my own thing. Independent as the firstborn of 4 kids. And then jump ahead in high school, I got involved in student government. I ended up becoming a president of student council. Then I went away to university and I became an entrepreneur. I started running a franchise in my first year at university, a university painting franchise. And I learned so much about business. I learned more than I learned in school. And then that opened my door to go into other entrepreneurial endeavors. And you talk about challenges. So along the way, I experienced, unfortunately, my wife and I, we separated. And it was a very tough, stressful time because my job is stressful and there's so much going on all at the same time. And sometimes it's thankless because people like to criticize today with social media. They're behind their keyboard and they don't like to acknowledge what you did that was right. They like to point out what you did was wrong. And I always say, I'm okay with criticism, but give me some good stuff too once in a while. Tell me when I did something right. Yeah. And then I dealt with cancer. I had Hodgkin's lymphoma. That was about 8 years ago, and I was very sick. I was down 60 pounds. Wow. You lose, all your, my skin was hanging on me. I was a green color. I was like, all your hair, your eyebrows, your eyelashes, I looked like a dog's breakfast. I looked terrible. Yeah. But didn't kill me, right? And so I evolved as a person, and my advice here is, even when bad things happen, good things can come out of them. And I was determined not to feel sorry for myself because at first I was in shock. I thought, well, why me? Why not me? Yeah. And then I started to think, what are my mentors? I've got a lot of great mentors. I tell people I have a lot of great mentors. And one of my mentors said to me a long time ago, don't ask why something's happening. Ask, what am I supposed to learn from it? Yeah. And so I said, thank you. For me, it's God, whatever everyone believes in, energy, whatever you want to call. But I believe, and I would say thank you for giving this to me, not my kids. And then it made me more grateful for the things I had in my life, where you take things for granted every day. And I stopped taking things for granted, like all the fruit's gone. The kids ate all the fruit in the fridge. Now I'm like, thank God they're healthy enough they can eat fruit. Yeah. And I did a 180 and I looked at everything from a different angle. And I've always been positive. Now I'm really positive. Yeah. So when anybody tells me something wrong that happened to them, I'll say, what's the good thing about it? Yeah. And I force them to look at it from another lens. And I'm telling you, everything bad, good can come out of it. And I don't care what it is. Yeah. I will find the silver lining in your gray cloud. Yeah. No, it's all about perception, and the accountability does fall on you, right? Like you said, when you are going through something, why not me? Why me? It's all about perspective and how you proceed from there. So you said that, growing up, you're a people pleaser. And I think I can resonate a lot with that. Like I said, my dad was in the Indian Army, always very strict, very rigid, very prompt. I was always the first kid, always, on time, never late. What was home like? Where do you think that stems from? Is it just who you are at nature, or is it that, parents were a little bit more orthodox growing up, the upbringing was a little bit more you have to work for your things. I come from a background where my dad's worked very hard for all that he has, right? And then my mom comes from a very affluent family where there were servants, there was a different life. And then when he came into this country, he came to Canada and then we moved to US and back here. And it's the land of opportunity. I want to give my kids a good life, but also I want to keep them grounded and they need to learn that they have to learn to fish. I'm not going to give them the fish. So where do you think your people pleasing or this attitude of, what did I learn, or sort of the hustler mentality come from? So that's interesting. You mentioned your parents, and I would say the same thing. So my parents could not be more different. Yeah. And my parents are kids of immigrants. I'm the grandkid of immigrants. So my mom's parents came from Ukraine and Poland. And her dad was a World War I veteran. And on my dad's side, they're from Italy. And my dad's father was a World War I veteran for Italy, was a prisoner of war in Austria for 3 years.
Yeah.
And after the war, his sisters went to France. His dad came to Canada. And that was more than 100 years ago. So, and both my parents, you know, came from Depression era thinking that, you know, don't waste anything, you know, reuse. And long before it became popular in recycling, reuse, and we were doing it long before. And, you know, that old shirt is a rag. You know, nothing got thrown out, everything got repurposed. And so my mom, so I learned frugality from my mom and not wasting anything and seeing the value in everything. And my dad for, you can have anything you want. You just have to be disciplined and committed. And that's what I realized. I always thought I was motivated, but then I realized I am, but I'm more disciplined because I'll do what others won't do so that I can have what others won't have. And I'm just more disciplined. I won't quit when I make up my mind. And a great example being in Niagara Falls, water is softer than rock, but it's the water that washed away all the rock to create the gorge and the moraine and the vista that you see, because eventually the persistence of the water forces the rock to give way. And when you want to change yourself, or there's something about yourself you don't like, when it's a decision and then it's discipline. Whatever it is, because none of us wake up or are born being perfect or ever are perfect, but the things you want to change about yourself, you can do that. So my dad he's all about discipline, organized, punctuality, and my mom's the other, like, wow, I don't want to commit yet. It's too soon to commit. but they both bring different, my mom's more of a nurturer, and my dad's more of I'll kick you in the butt. Like they're totally, so I think I've got both of them in me. And so it's always this internal battle, but I see things through different lenses from my mom and from my dad. And I think it's the strength because it gives you more diversity, more things to draw on.
It definitely keeps you grounded as well. So before stepping into office, you were an entrepreneur. I'm sure you did very well in that. What were some of the lessons or the key takeaways in leadership that you kind of utilized into your role as a mayor? Or what, if not takeaways, like lessons or experiences that kind of helped you in your journey as a mayor?
So definitely being organized and planned out. So when I ran for mayor the first thing I did, I put a business plan together. And I did a SWOT analysis, strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats. And so we have to be honest before we get started. So if the patient's in the hospital, what's wrong with you? Let's be honest with what the problem is. You're smoking, it's a bad idea. Someone's got to be honest with you. You're not exercising, that's a bad idea. We got to change that. You know, what kind of food are you? So in the same with the business, I had to be honest. Niagara Falls is good at some things. We're not good at some things. We can do better. And if you travel, and I've been blessed enough to do a fair bit of traveling, I've seen destinations who have done a better job than us with less to work with. We've got one of the great natural, iconic wonders of the world here. We should be great. And I say we're good. We're not great. We can do much better. So that's my goal, is to make us what we really could be. So in terms of so I learned that, planning, and the next thing I mentioned already, discipline, teamwork. You need a team around you. So I do my own SWOT analysis on me. What am I good at and what am I not good at? I need to bring smart people around me to make me whole, make me complete. So the areas, I'll give you an example. I have a really smart city manager who's an accountant. And he loves numbers and he loves balance sheets and income statements. That's great, because that's not I'm a people person. I want to be where the people are, and I want to be down in the weeds and get my hands dirty and where the people are. So he completes me in the area I don't enjoy as much, so I'm not as good at. So surround yourself with really good people, and then a servant mentality. And the philosophy I use is the answer is yes. What's the question? So whatever it is you need, it's obviously important to you. I want to help get you to your goal. And so that's kind of and like I say, in the ultimate superpowers, I don't quit. I don't quit. I get consumed. I'll give you one quick story example. My mom, years ago, I was in China, or my daughter rather, wanted a red purse. I thought, how hard is that? A red purse in China. My God, I couldn't find one. I mean, and she didn't want a brand name Prada, or she just wanted a red purse, and she was a little girl.
Yeah.
I'm looking, I could not find a red purse. I wouldn't stop until once you tell me something, it's kind of programmed in my mind, it imprints. I'm just I got it.
Yeah.
And they knew, my kids know, my mom knows, my dad knows, when they ask me to do something, my mom will go, oh, don't worry about this. But if in your journeys you come across, I go, Mom, I don't work like that. You just program me. I'm like a robot. I will go seek it and find it. So, and it's frustrating. People say, well, let it go. I go, I don't have that gift. I can't let things go.
Yeah.
I have to go achieve and check the box.
Yeah.
I'm task oriented. I'm on a mission. And so it's it's a strength and a weakness at the same time.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
I completely understand, because are you the youngest?
Oldest.
You're the oldest.
Of
I'm the
4.
youngest. And I think, there's always that one child in the family that has that go-getter personality, that doesn't give up, that'll always figure it out. And I think, I also come from a family where, again, immigrant parents, right? Like, I'm not used to my parents telling me I love them, right? Like, I can't remember the last time my dad, like, even today when I hug him, he just kind of stands there.
Stiffens
but then
up.
it's like, it teaches you, and in time you kind of become that version of yourself without realizing it. But it's very nice. I love that trailblazer personality, but I think that has a lot to do with your experiences in life, and they teach you a lot, right? So while you were an entrepreneur, or at what point in your life did you realize that you wanted to be in the public service and become a mayor and go for this role?
So at one point, I was running, at that time I had a bakery distribution company. I was distributing baked goods, sweet goods, desserts to the major retailers in Southern Ontario.
Yeah.
My wife used to say, from your lips to your hips. That's what I used to sell. So I was doing that. But I had some employees that were doing some of the heavy lifting and had a little extra time. And I thought, I'm going to run for city council. So, but again, I approached it like a business, like organized business plan, put my team together. What's my mission? What's our goal? Like I put it together, like planned all the steps. And we did well. We did really well. And it's funny because that year the city council was going from 12 down to 8. And there was 31 people running for 8 positions, with 4 incumbents going to lose their seats. Right. And so it went really well. We did really, really well. And then I was content just being a city councilor, part-time, running my business. I was good with that. And the reason I got into that part-time is I was volunteering for a committee of council, and they were doing permissive grants for the different organizations like Boys and Girls Club, YMCA, the Optimists, the Lions, all the community groups. And we helped realign the permissive grants. And then we did all the hard work, the research, delivered it to city council. Well, this is a more fair way to do it. This group's got a lot of money in the bank. This group needs more money. We did something more equitable. They overturned everything we did with one motion and a bang of a gavel because the service group showed up in council. And I remember I was in shock. I said, you guys just made really bad business decisions. They said, well, that's politics. I said, that's your answer? That's politics? Yeah. And they said, and I just persisted. Finally, they said, if you don't like it, run for something. Yeah. And I thought, I don't want to be a politician. I was like, I don't want to be one of you guys. Next thing you know, here I am. So I decided to run, but if I'm going to run, I'm going to do it right. Yeah. So I did it. And then I was content. And the mayor at the time, who I was happy to serve under, we got on at the same time, there was a decision about a trail system going through the city. And there's always political pressure. There's NIMBY, not in my backyard. Oh, I love trails, just not behind my house. Yeah. I love parks, not behind my house. Schools are wonderful, not behind my house. I love Costco, just not behind my house, not my backyard. So that's what people, then there's bananas, build absolutely nothing anywhere near anyone. So you get all this. So people are like, oh, I love, so okay, not in your backyard, but how about, but it's okay in their backyard. Yeah. Got it. So, and at the time, the mayor had heart problems, and I said, this is a perfect time for you to explain to the public, because it was 50-50, this is the right decision. This is ultimately, Mandy, how I make my final decision. When I put my head to my pillow at night, do I get right to sleep, or do I have something stirring in my stomach because I made a bad decision? Yeah. Did I make the city better for my kids? Yeah. or worse for my kids. That's how I make the decision. Not, will more people like this? Will more people be upset about this? I think, no, I got to do the right thing. So I always pray for discernment. So I make the right decision, see through the fluff and the nonsense and whatnot, the distractions. So it was a tie vote for the trail, which was going to go north to south. Today it's called the Millennium Trail. And I remember it was a tie vote and the mayor killed it, the trail.
Wow.
That's when I decided I got to run for council. That trail has to get built. And I had people say, if you agree to not do the trail, I'll support you. And I said, vote for someone else. I'm for trails. I'm for parks, connecting communities. I'm all about that. So since then, we completed all 6 sections, north to south. Now we're going east to west around along an old abandoned rail line. So that's the philosophy, and that's why I got it. I didn't get it because I wanted to get into it. There was something that needed to get done, and the only way I could do it was to grab the steering wheel and steer the ship. And I thought, fine, now if I'm doing it, I'm doing everything.
Yeah.
I'm doing a hospital. I'm going to build a hospice. I'm going to get a university. I'm getting Go Train. And I'm the kind, look out, I put everything inside and decide in my sights, we're going to shoot everything. We're going to make it happen.
Yeah. Execution, the wisdom. I love it. Looking back at your journey, whether, 5 years, 10 years down the lane or even beyond, what advice, if you could look back at yourself in your life and look at the young Jim, what advice would you give him today?
So we're assuming I'm an old Jim now, but no, I am. What would I say?
Your younger self.
You're my younger self. So what I think I would tell myself is trust your gut. Every time I don't follow my gut, we say gut instinct, I end up regretting it.
Yeah.
Every time. And as you do a little bit of scientific research, you realize the gut, the stomach is one of the least evolved parts of the body in relation to the amount of space on your brain. Your gut is our closest thing to instinct.
Yeah.
I mean, animals have instinct. We don't really have instinct, but it gives you a sense of right or wrong, or when you're on the right path and the wrong path. And I'm not a scientist and I can't explain it, but what I do know is listen to your gut. There's a voice inside of you, whatever you want to call it, spirit. If you want to say it's God giving you messages, if you want to say it's an ancestor, whatever you want to call that. But when you're feeling this message that makes you feel a certain way, don't shut it out. Don't try to ignore it. Just try to listen to it. And I think so many times that I ended up going this way and I thought I should go that way and I wish I went with my gut. So that would be the first thing. And I think the second thing would be don't compare yourself to others. Yeah. You're on a different trajectory. It doesn't mean one is better than the other. One is made for you, just like a pair of shoes. And one is made for someone else. And it's okay. We can all be on our own paths and be happy. And then the last thing I'd say is being grateful. Yeah. This is one thing. So many people, we say quickly, oh, I'm a half full or a half empty cup kind of person. Yeah. I said, just be grateful for what it is that you have. Yeah. And then life just seems to give you abundance when you're grateful for, and I will challenge my kids, what are you grateful for? What else? What else? And then I start to think about even that gravity that keeps us on the planet. Fresh air every day. I can just go outside and breathe. Sunshine, birds, food, community. We live in a safe country. There's no wars here. I mean, you could go on and on. And most of our problems, they call them, aren't problems. Yeah. They're inconveniences. We don't have problems. We're in pretty good shape. So I would say be grateful for what you have and be grateful for what happened. Be grateful for what didn't happen because it might have taken you on a different path. Yeah. And sometimes the way to where you want to be is through the dump. Sometimes you got to go through these trials and tribulations because they're going to give you all the tools you need to be successful.
So leadership comes with a lot of difficult decisions, right? What do you think leadership has taught you about yourself?
Well, definitely I don't want to repeat the things that I've already said before, but listening to your gut, having a plan, as they say, plan your work, then work your plan. Yeah. I don't think you just get up and randomly see what happens that day. My dad always said there's 3 kinds of people. People who watch things happen, people who make things happen, and people who ask what happened. And I want to be the one that's making things happen. And I try to, and in business, fulfill a desire, fulfill a need. And if you can find out what people need or want and you fill it, you're going to satisfy them. And that's what I try to do. What are our opportunities? Try to come up with ways to deal with those opportunities.
Perfect. What do you think people misunderstand most about you?
Oh, there's lots. There's lots. Because people judge you sometimes based on nothing.
Yeah.
I'll just tell you a quick story to kind of summarize.
Yeah.
I had one guy, I guess he was saying some nasty things about me on social media.
Yeah.
I didn't know who he was. When I see something like that, I just delete it. If you can criticize, I have no problem with criticism, but not disrespect.
Yeah.
You can't disrespect, because I will delete you and block you unapologetically.
Yeah.
You don't get to do that.
Yep.
So, and because I won't disrespect someone else.
Yep.
You can disagree, fine. So this person, I was at an event earlier this year. And I just I walk in, hello to everybody, hello, hello, hello. So unbeknownst to me, this person was in the room. And I end up getting this message a few days later from this event. And he said, hi, my name is so-and-so. I'm so embarrassed. I feel like I want to crawl under a rock. He goes, I was saying all these things about you. I don't even know who you are. I've never met you.
Yeah.
I was awful to you. And you've never done anything to me. And then you walked in that room and you said hello to me. He goes, I didn't know what to do with myself. And I watched you talk to other people.
Yep.
And I saw the kind of person you were. He goes, I felt horrible about myself. Can you find it in yourself to forgive me?
Yeah.
And I thought, I tell my kids, number one, own it.
Yeah.
And that guy owned it. Number two, apologize and make it better. And that's what this man did.
Yeah.
And the third thing was, don't do it again. Learn from it. Yeah. So this guy did that, and I think I want people to know I'm a good person. Yeah. I'm always out for their best interests. And I'll tell you, my dad used to always say, whenever I would tell him, Dad, some people are nasty. He goes, what about Jesus? Jesus didn't hurt anybody, and what happened to him? He goes, and I said, Dad, that's not making me feel any better. Yeah. He goes, the point is, that's how human nature is. You just have to understand it and accept it. You don't have to like it. Yeah. So I don't like it, but I have to accept it.
Yeah, no, that's fair, and I absolutely agree with that. In the chaos of our life, right, sometimes things get challenging and they get overwhelming. What do you think helps you stay grounded? That's
great. So number one is exercise.
Okay.
I make it part of my, 5 days a week. I got a gym in my basement. I go to a gym, and I do it as much for the mental as I do for the physical. And there's so much science around the mental benefits, physical benefits of just 20, 30 minutes a day of exercise, strength training, resistance training. It's so important. And all my kids do the same thing. My whole family, we all believe in this and we do it. I can tell you, I'm a much better person when I leave the gym than when I get to the gym. Yeah. Whatever's bothering me when I leave, the natural endorphins that get released, you remove the cortisol, you get the serotonin pumping. It's so good for you. Yeah. And the other one is I believe in faith. I believe faith is very important, it keeps you humble. You realize the world's not about you. There's a much higher power that created all of this, not a big bang idea. There's a higher power. And whatever you refer to it as energy, God, whatever you want to call it, but there's a higher, it keeps you humble and then keeps you grateful. I find the more I'm grateful, the more I'm humble, the better life is for me. And when I stop thinking it's about me and I start thinking about how can I help other people, everything gets better. Yeah, that's fair. So you have 3 kids. What do you want your kids to remember about you? What do you want them to know? One day we're all going to leave this planet Earth, right? How do you want your kids to remember you? I always hope that my daughter remembers the fact that I always showed up. Mama was always there, and Mama loved from here. What do you want for your kids? I would say the exact same thing. When my kids phone, or my parents, thank God they're still healthy in their 80s, that I've answered the phone during city council meetings. Yeah. And I'll just say, is everything all right? And as soon as, okay, can I call you? I'm in the middle of a meeting. Okay, I just want to make sure if there's an emergency, I will drop everything. Yeah. When my daughter was going to school, my one daughter was going to school in Miami, If she had an issue, I'd be there in 2 seconds. My other daughter is doing her MBA in Vancouver. I will be there and I will come immediately. To know I always answer, I'll always be there. I'm devoted.
Yeah.
I say, you need a kidney, take it. What do you need? You can have whatever I have is for you. So I want them to know that, and I don't do it for anything other than unconditional love. I love them no matter what, and I tell them. And this is the other thing I used to say when they were little. And they would say this before they go to bed at nighttime. We'd read stories. I would make up stories. We'd say our prayers, talk about what we're grateful for. And then I'd always say, and they would finish it. And today, even this day, they're cute. I'll say, even when Dad's mad at you, you still love me. Yeah. Because they know, I go, don't ever confuse being mad and love. Yeah. I go, I love you no matter what you do. Yeah. I'll always love you, but I won't always be happy with you. Yeah. And I want them to know that so they don't feel that I judge them. Yeah. I don't always agree with what they do. Yeah. In the end, they have to live with their choices. Yeah. But I want them to always filter, what would Dad have said? Because it's funny, as much as I resisted my dad, my brothers say the same thing. Yep. He'd always tell us things. Oh my God, we always say to my brothers and I, do you ever find you're saying things Dad said? I go, all the time. I can't, he was planting seeds and I didn't even realize it. So I realized even when my kids look like they're ignoring me, your listening. Daughter, she's not, oh no, you're planting seeds. Yeah. They're germinating and they're gonna grow. They can fight it all they want. Yeah. Once they heard it, it's like toothpaste. You can't get it back in the tube. It's in there, it's in there. It'll always be there. Yes,
no, I resonate with that too. I always tell my daughter, you know, Mama loves you no matter what. There will be times when Mama's upset and there is a reason, but it's what we learn and how we move forward, right? Yes. At the end of the day, if it's something you need, you got to tell Mama the truth. We got to be honest with each other. So I think building that connection with children, especially nowadays with social media and, you know, the chaos, the noise that happens around, right? Us, so it's good that you have that. If they were sitting here today, and they were asked what they learned from watching you, what do you think they would say?
I watch Dad and I do the opposite, so I know I'll be successful. Yeah. No, I don't believe in preaching. I believe they're going to do what you do, not what you say. Yep. So I try my best to live the life I want them to lead. Yep. So in the end, they're going to do what they do, but I just hope they'll always think about what I do and my habits. And they see, I'm usually the first one up. I'm the last one to bed. Yeah. I'll come behind them cleaning up. I'll do this, I'll do that. If someone needs help, if you need me to shovel your driveway, I'll help you shovel. I don't say no too much, very rarely. And maybe that's one of my downsides as well. But the answer is yes. What's the question? Yeah. And my kids, I don't tell them no. Dad, can I use your car? Can you drive me here? Can you lend me some money? Can you help? By the way, lend you money actually means give. The word lend, it got lost in translation. Yeah. And I want them to know it's unconditional love, that I'll always be there for them. And I think they understand that, even for their mom. Even though we've separated, I mean, it's been 10 years. Yeah. Anything she needs, I'm there for her as well and her family. I'm a giver. There's no question about it. I'm a giver, and that's the way I'll be. And I mean, if it means I have less because I give, I'm okay with that.
How do you balance it all? So, you know, being in your position, you're so busy, you're so demanding, everybody wants a minute or two with you, and it's always more than anticipated. There's a lot of young families in today's day and age. I think the more awareness there is, the more pressure we have. You know, there's so much awareness on mental health, yet so many people are depressed. There's so much awareness on eating healthy, doing strength training, yet so many people are struggling. I think there's a lot of single young parents or single parents in general, you know, where people question, like, can I have it all? I always say you can have it all, just not at the same time. But I think one thing I personally want to know from me is, how do you balance being a dad, being a friend, being Jim and having me time, and also being available for the community that's out there today?
So that's a good question. And something I learned, my first business, College Pro Painters, I was 19, just turned. And I'm running a franchise with, 8 to 10 full-time painters. I've never painted. It was really interesting, but it was such an experience and very profitable. And what I learned from my vice president at the time, he said, Jim, I'm concerned about you. We need to have a meeting. And he said, I want you to bring your day planner. And I said, is that the calendar? because I never used a day planner. Everything was in my mind.
Yeah.
And this is now we have digital day planners. It's
For
different.
sure,
But
yeah.
at that time, he said, bring your week at a glance. I said, all right. So he brought it. Here's what he did. And this is something I teach a lot of other people. He did so many things in life I've learned are the exact opposite of what I thought they were.
Yeah.
Exact opposite. So here's another example. What makes Jim Diodati a happy camper? What makes you fulfilled? What gives you satisfaction? I said, okay, I like to get to the gym. How often? 3 days a week. How long? Okay. When? We put it in the calendar. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Okay. What else? I said, well, maybe I like to go to the beach on Sunday. Remember, I'm 19, right?
Yeah.
Go to the beach. Okay. What else? Maybe if it's a good week, I'll have a date.
Yeah.
Maybe when? Thursday, Friday, put it in. What else? Finally, there's nothing else that I personally wanted to do. He goes, okay, now let's plan your work. He goes, because now this week, if we get through it, you'll be satisfied and in balance personally. I said, yeah, now we plan your work. He goes, the problem when you plan your work, then your good stuff, sometimes the good stuff never happens. You're too tired. You run out of time. He goes, you schedule it. And I said, well, what if my estimates or my jobs conflict? He goes, you move the time here or there. You don't take it out. It's committed. You put that 2 hours aside for your workout, travel, shower. And I thought, interesting. So he changed my life with that simple planning and being deliberate about what you want in your life. So, and realizing the universe listens to good and bad. When you put negative out there, negative comes back. The universe, once you understand that it gives you what you ask for. And if you say, life sucks for me, I have no money, everything bad happens to me, I'm this, I'm that, that's exactly what you're going to get more of. When you speak it as if it's already happened and say, thank you for my healthy family, thank you for my fitness, thank you for prosperity, thank you for my success, the universe gives you more of it because you're being grateful and you're being humble. So I think that planning that my vice president at the time gave me, we're still friends all these years later. I use it every day and I teach everyone else. First put in what's important to you and then backfill it with your work. And it changes your life. And you you hit the pillow at the end of the night, you feel good, you did everything you wanted to do, and you were productive.
Yeah, that's amazing. So 2 things I want to ask you before we wrap up and get into a rapid fire round. One is, if someone gave you a blank check, what would be your dream project as the Mayor of Niagara Falls? And then 2 is, once you depart from this chapter, one day you're going to hand over the chain to someone else, right? What do you hope that next chapter looks like for you personally?
So the first one, if someone gave me a check, I've been so grateful that we have a hospital being built, $3.5 billion hospital, center of excellence, open in a year and a half. And I had every single, I can give you story after story after story of the challenges I've had. But I've been at this for 16 years. So I'm a year and a half away from cutting the ribbon. They said we need to raise money for the hospital. Well, we still need to raise another $25 million. So if I had a blank check, it would be for the new hospital to be concluded on the capital campaign. And I'm going to build a hospice. I'm going to announce that later this summer. And that's going to be about $20 million. So I would give me a $50 million check. I'll finish off the hospital, the hospice, and I'll have $5 million left over for some other incidentals. That's what I'd ask for if it was a monetary goal. And I know I'm going to get there. This would just get me there quicker. Obviously, give me a check. We'll get it done real boom. And then the second part of the question, I'm sorry, the second part you were asking me.
So when you hand the chain, what does life look like?
So that's a great question. I'll probably go back to my first love, which is business. I love running businesses. And it's not that, I just love making things and offering services for people, from a little boy selling roses to neighbors, to food for people's lunches, to painting their houses. I just like to offer really good customer service for people, whatever that is. So I doubt I'll continue in politics. I think I've been there, done it. I'll do something else. I'll do volunteer work, but I think I'll do business, hopefully with my kids. I said, get your education so we can do some investments together. So I love to do that and leave a legacy, financial legacy of business, teach my kids business, that you don't work for money, money works for you. You have to position your money in a way that it pays you. So you're not a slave to money, money's a slave to you. So I want to teach my kids that by being in business with them.
Oh my God, I've learned so much sitting next to you. You should write a book.
Yeah.
All right, so let's wrap up our conversation and hop into the fun segment of our podcast. So it's a quick rapid fire round, nothing fancy, whatever comes to your mind. They're very simple questions. Number one, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Tea or coffee?
Coffee, black.
Black coffee?
Yep.
I like coffee, but I like a little Elmhurst oat creamer. Early bird or a night owl?
Night owl.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
What is it that you like to do?
When
a night owl, right?
Well, I like to watch series on TV or Instagram because of algorithms. I'm always looking at positive, inspirational, motivational. I get more of it and funny things. I love to pee myself laughing at night before I hit the pillow. I find sometimes I giggle falling asleep, and I sleep like a baby at night. But yeah, I like to do that at night. I like my silence. I'm good with silence too.
Awesome. Favorite place in Niagara Falls?
At the falls, the brink of the falls, just the power, the negative ions, the energy, the iconicness of it. You feel this energy just draws you in.
I agree. I think that view never gets old.
No.
Every time you go, it's just so pretty, and the water, it's just so calming, right?
Yeah.
Favorite local restaurant, if you have one? So
I love Copacabana because I'm a carnivore, and the food there is outstanding. I love that. And then I'd also have to say, if I could have two, is Cucina Four Brothers. They have the best aglio olio, which is a simple pasta and garlic mix. It's so delicious. Those are two of my favorites. I have a lot of, I like to eat. I'm a foodie.
Yeah.
I love to eat. But those are two that if I'm having a weak moment, I'm going to one of those
One of those. I can understand. We are so blessed to have each season, right? Spring, summer, winter, fall. What's your favorite season?
Oh, I love them all for different reasons, but I love fall because it's not as crazy busy as the summer.
Yeah.
It's not, the winter, the weather's still good. And when you see the leaves going orange and yellow and red and brown, it looks like a mosaic.
Yeah.
And as they just start to drop, it's just a peaceful time as the leaves are falling and we're preparing to get cozy, stock up your wood for your fireplace, for the winter's coming. There's something cozy. I like to be cozy.
Yeah.
And when I would read stories to my kids, I'd always go, the storm's coming. Get cozy under the blankets. And we would always get cozy under the blankets. I like being cozy.
Yeah.
So I like it cold in my house with lots of blankets.
Yeah. Oh, you're so fun. I've had a great time so far. One book that you think everyone should read?
Wow. I've read so many amazing books. I really enjoyed Like a Virgin by Richard Branson. And that I love because here's a guy, dyslexic, dropped out in high school, didn't even finish high school, became a multi-billionaire in multiple industries. And he did it with just two things, innovation and customer service.
Yeah.
And he tells examples and stories of how he fostered that environment. And I got to meet him. He was one of my heroes I wanted to meet, and I've met him twice now.
Fantastic.
I met him in Niagara Falls, and I met him in Utah.
Yeah.
I was at an event for motivational, inspirational speakers, and I got to meet him again. And I loved his stories, and he does it with humor. I think that's the kind of guy I want to be, loving life.
All right. And favorite movie? I'm sure there's so many. Anything that comes to your mind.
Okay. Shawshank Redemption.
Love it.
I loved it. One of my favorites.
Yep.
But I'm also a science nerd. I love, if you have Star Trek, Star Wars, anything futuristic, I'm weak. You show me a movie like that and I'm like glued to the screen. And so I love, when I go through the channel, I see something science fiction, I'm gone. I'm hooked.
That's amazing. A song that makes you smile.
Brown Eyed Girl. I love that. Van Morrison. And I love anything Eagles. I just love, they're just easy listening. They all have good stories.
Yeah.
And they have a good beat. And I just find it's relaxing and just brings your blood pressure down. And it slows you down enough to enjoy things around you, whether it's tequila or beautiful weather, beautiful people. I just love the feeling of that.
Do you have any hidden talents?
I've got a bunch of things that are absolutely useless. Like, I can juggle, I play the guitar, and again, like everything, nothing well, but I do it. But I used to play guitar in our church and stuff like that, and I'll juggle. And as a kid, I used to do magic tricks.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not good at any of them, and I'm a good storyteller. Okay. That's one thing, I'm a good storyteller.
Okay. All All right, second last. I'll ask you two more. If you could relive one day of your life, which would it be?
Oh, wow.
I'm sure there's so many.
Oh my gosh, there's so many I would relive. Oh my gosh. Maybe the birth of your kids,
Yeah.
to be in the moment more.
Yeah.
Because, that's why parents sometimes say they like their grandparents better, or their grandkids better. And I know what they mean. They have time to enjoy them.
Yeah.
So much of life passes us by because we're in such a hurry.
Yeah.
We miss out on things.
Yeah.
And I would be more present for things that I was always present, but to not be thinking about anything else.
Yeah. Perfect. Finish the sentence. Life is
amazing, and be grateful for everything in it. And I think give thanks every opportunity you have.
Yeah. Jim, you're such a vibe. You're so fun. I never thought I would say these words out to you. But it was such a pleasure. Thank you so much for opening up and being so humble about your journey and sharing your experiences. There are so many more things I would love to ask you, but we are a little tight on time, but I'm sure we will connect again, and maybe one day we can come back for another podcast. And thank you for all that you do.
My pleasure. My pleasure. 100%. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. I will see you next Thursday.